We are here in the kitchen. Elyse Hirsch is joining me today. She is the cooking, crafting chef extraordinaire, but I'm actually going to try to teach her something today all about figs.
Yes, so you made this recipe last year, and I've been asking for it ever since. So we thought you could demo it for me here.
Absolutely. So we learned more about figs because we were sent a lot of figs in the mail because we did a fig interview. And we didn't want to waste them, so we decided to make fig jam. It's a recipe that we got in this cookbook that they also sent us, and it's a very simple recipe.
And so exciting because I've never really cooked with fresh figs. I've only ever cooked with dry figs, and I guess they are only in season for a short time, or you only see them in grocery stores at least for a short time. So just eating them, just the fig itself was a treat, but I'm excited to learn a recipe with the fresh figs.
I don't think I'd ever really eaten a fresh fig until they were sent to us, so I had no idea really what it was or how it looked. So they sent us a couple different kinds. This is a mission fig, and it's very sweet, and it's perfect for jams, desserts, anything that you don't want to add a lot of sugar to. And then this is an Adriatic fig, also very sweet. They also sent us some, I think they're called brown turkey figs.
Oh.
But those are
those.
not as sweet. So you have to add more sugar if you want to use them in a dessert, or just use them in something that you don't want to be as sweet. But what's nice about this recipe is you barely add any sugar.
I was just going to say what I liked so much about this jam was that it wasn't too sweet. Not savory necessarily, but just not overly sweet.
I feel like this batch turned out quite savory. So,
Oh, good.
But really good. You could have it on bread, on toast. You could even put it on grilled pork or ice cream. It's really unique and different. So I'm going to show you first how to cut a fig.
Okay.
So the first step of the jam is cutting the figs. So I'm going to hand you these 2 figs.
Okay.
And all you want to do is remove the top stem.
Just cut the top right off.
Just cut it off, and then
Okay.
you're just going to slice it. You're going to keep this
Slice
peel
down.
on and everything. So just slice it into bits,
Okay.
and that's it. That's all you do to cut your figs. You don't have to peel them. You don't have to do anything fancy. So you just chop them up.
And the seeds go into the jam. We don't have to
All
remove
of it.
them.
All of it
Perfect.
just goes in. And it really, you don't even have to chop them that much because it just really, you mashes down when you bake it on the stove, when you
okay.
simmer it for a while. So while you
just
cut
a
those
few.
figs, I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. Really so simple. All this recipe has is around a pound of figs, and then you add a little bit of honey into your pot, and it simmers, and that's what makes the jam so good. And also thickens it, because there's no extra thickener. This isn't a traditional
Yeah,
jam recipe.
no gelatin or anything like that added to it.
None of
I
that.
love that, yeah.
None of that. So that being said, there's also not a lot of preservatives in this, if any. So it doesn't last very long in the fridge. But I froze the jam last year, my extra jars, and it turned out great.
That's right, because I had never canned anything or had been taught how to can something, and so that intimidated me. But throwing it in the freezer, that's super easy.
Yes, it is. Okay, so I'm also going to add some red wine. It really helps add
And it's
the
a
savory.
sweet red wine, you said, right?
It is. Yes, it is. And then we're almost done. There's not much more. We're going to add all of our figs. And we're going to add juice of 1 lemon. So I'm going to just
Alright.
slice this lemon. Actually, before I do that, you're going to zest it. So I just zest it right into the pot as much as I can. Just get all that nice zest in there. And of course, you don't have to have a zester. You can use whatever you
Cheese
have.
grater.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like a zester is one of those things you don't need, but once you have it, you have to have it. You can't live without it. So there's
All right.
that, and then you're gonna zest an orange too. And the fresh zest really helps the jam taste, really adds that citrus and tastes very fresh. And I'm almost done. This is it.
Should I go ahead and slice this lemon in half?
So yeah, if you wanna slice that, and you're gonna add the juice of that into the pot. And that's about it.
Let's use this.
So
I've never used a tool like this before.
So this juicer is very simple. It's not a great juicer, but okay, sorry.
I always use one of those little like crusher juicers.
Oh, you know what? I think I have one of those. That would have been a lot easier. I just
The little
always,
clamshell.
Yeah, that would be probably a bit easier. But I'm just gonna juice this, and then if you want to cut our orange in half,
Perfect.
juice that. Throw it in the pot, and then you just have it simmer for a while, just to make sure that it all gets in there, gets nice and thick. So while you're doing that, I'm gonna add the figs in. You can see just some very, very simple recipe. It's all you do.
Hopefully we didn't need all the juice.
No, of course not. No. So yeah, just add the juice.
All right.
And then I usually, since that can be kind of tricky, sorry, I didn't warn
No,
you.
that's fine.
Actually, it doesn't want to come off at all. So we'll just kind of add the juice like that. Okay, next time we'll bring the other tool. All right. So it's not as hard as we made that a lot. I made that a lot harder. So then you just simmer it, mash it down. If you want it kind of chunky, then you'll just use something simple like this, or a potato masher when you're mashing it. But what I did to make it more jam-like texture is I used this immersion blender.
Love it. That's another tool in my kitchen that once you have it, you just can't live without it, I feel like.
You really can't. So that's it. All you do, simmer it, and then you have this beautiful fig jam. Well, I think it's beautiful.
Such a pretty color, I
Maybe
think
because
so.
I made it, and I'm just so proud.
You should be proud. And I remember tasting it last year, and it was just fresh and not too sweet. And yeah, I'm so excited to have some this morning.
It's really unique. There's not a lot in it, so it's somewhat healthy, not a lot of sugar. Just a really fun thing to have. And again, figs, as you mentioned, they don't stay ripe very long. There's a very small window of time. So you want to make sure that you make them. So jam's a great way if somehow you end up with a lot of figs.
Yes,
Jam
and
is
especially if
perfect.
they're almost gone and not quite as firm, jam's a great recipe to throw it in because it doesn't matter how intact they are for this recipe.
Exactly. So that's it. That's all you do. Quite simple, quite
So easy.
straightforward,
And
but
just
really
a few
fun
ingredients.
summer.
Yeah, just a few ingredients. I love it.
Perfect. Well, I feel intimidated teaching you how to do something because I believe last year you took some figs home and you made something.
I took the fresh figs, and there was a recipe in this book as well for a pasta. So it was kind of like a sweet and savory fig pasta dish, which is great. And with dried figs, my family always did fig cookies, where you soak the dried figs in brandy, and you make sort of gourmet fig Newton type cookies out of them. So I'm a big fig fan. Thought that'd be tricky to say. Fig fan. I'm a big fig fan.
Well, we had a lot of fig fun here on the show today, so thanks, Elyse, for joining us. We are happy that they sent us figs once again and hope that you'll try something different in the kitchen, something healthy. Maybe we inspired you, if not to make fig jam, but maybe something else here on this Monday. We'll be back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere.